Good morning, guys. Thought I'd give you a heads up and a nugget this morning. It's an interesting nugget because a lot of believers are expecting the rapture or the ascension, and everyone's timeline seems to vary. Now, I'm looking at Mark 13:23 to 37, and it says here, "But in those days after that tribulation, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling out of heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then he will send his angels, and he will gather together his chosen from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the end of heaven. But learn the parable from the fig tree. As soon as the branch has become tender and put forth its leaves, you know that the summer is near." So always we know when the trees blossoms or it changes or it's spring, summer, or winter. So we're looking at the leaves, and that shows us that the summer is near. So also you, when you see these things happening, know that it is near at the door. Truly I say to you that this generation shall by no means pass away until all these things happen. So what it shows us here in Mark 13 is that the tribulation comes first, and with the stars falling, there's going to be a period of darkness. So we're going to go through that darkness before the rapture, and that darkness has not come yet. So we do hear some believers hoping that the rapture happens like right now. But believing the word, it tells us that after the tribulation, and the tribulation has not come yet. We see the wars and people gathering and countries gathering, and we can see like when a carcass falls and the vultures gather. We see the gathering, and they're all getting together. So we know that something is near, that the war that will bring about the tribulation. And so it's good news for believers. It's great news that we're going to be taken out. He's going to collect his chosen from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the end of heaven. And you can recheck that in Mark 13. Another nugget I wanted to give you this morning by a professor. This professor is telling us that in life, if we're positive and not negative, it's an excellent way to live. He tells us that his experiences and his research brought him to this. He says in his research, he discovered that our lives are shaped by our interaction with others. Whether we have a long conversation with a friend or simply place an order at a restaurant, every interaction makes a difference. Again, he says, every interaction makes a difference. And the results of our encounters are really neutral. They're almost always positive or negative. And although we take these interactions for granted, they accumulate and profoundly affect our lives. And then he goes on further to explain the theory of the dipper and the bucket. Each of us has an invisible bucket. It is constantly emptied or filled, depending on what others say or do to us. When our buckets is full, we feel great. When our buckets are empty, we feel awful. Each of us also has an invisible dipper. When we use that dipper to fill other people's buckets, By saying or doing things to increase their positive emotions, we also fill our own buckets. But when we use that dipper to dip from others' buckets, by saying or doing things that decrease their positive emotions, we diminish ourselves. Like the cup that runneth over, a full bucket gives us a positive outlook and renewed energy. Every drop in that bucket makes us stronger and more optimistic. But an empty bucket poisons our outlook, saps our energy, and undermines our will. That's why every time someone dips from our bucket, it hurts us. So we face a choice every moment of every day. We can fill one another's bucket, or we can dip from them. It's an important choice, one that profoundly influences our relationships, productivity, health, and happiness. Okay, so I hope those hints and wisdom keys enrich our lives and helps it. Another thing we're noticing today in the news, one of our main news people are now discrediting Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. They're discrediting him in terms of his relationship to Hamas and what has recently happened. But we know how the enemies work. They tell a lie. So we have to pay attention to the lies that are being spewed and the lies that are being told, because if we do not and are not aware of the lies and we absorb it and we believe it, then it's going to affect how we think and feel about that person, that leader, that country. So one of the things that is most important in our day-to-day lives is that we pay attention, whether it's a lie or the truth. And so we're going to have to research further. I don't know if the things they're saying regarding Netanyahu is fact or fiction, but I think even in our own political arena, we have to do the research and check if it's fact or fiction, because a lot of fact and fiction is always out there to change our views, opinions, and to tarnish how we feel about people, countries, and leaders, and even our own families and friends. On the international news, I'll just give you a little heading. Russia has had its largest drone attack. NATO is about to enter the Black Sea. Preparations in place again. And there's more that I will update you on later with the Dwight Eisenhower ship that is also in readiness out there. And 20 drones from Iran went into Russia. Now, there has to be some more details and why, but it just seems so conflicting continuously. Every time that we are looking at one area of the conflict, another area seems to show us that it's like to be something completely different than what we thought. And then we're not being told all of the truth and all there is to be told. So just from what we gather from the basic news media, we have to connect the dots. We have to connect the dots so that we can prepare. But one of the great news for believers, after the tribulation, we're going to be taken out. The God of Israel is going to collect us. And again, sometimes we worry about Israel. We never have to worry about Israel, because the God of Israel protects Israel. So Israel can be alone because our God is mighty. Our God has 1 billion angels that he can dispatch at a moment's notice, at a second's notice. Israel has a God, the God of Israel. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is Israel's God. So this is good news for every believer. Israel is always in the arms of God. He has chosen Israel. He has chosen a people. It is already written. It is already done. We just have to go to the Word and we see the facts, what's going to happen, what the God of Israel will do, and how he's going to handle it. And so it doesn't matter how many armies come against them. Like in Zechariah 14, that says all the nations of the world are going to gather against Jerusalem. But again, the God of Israel is going to step forth and watch what he does. Because he's mighty, he's almighty, he's the creator of all things, he is God. And so we've got lots of great news to look forward to, especially for believers. And those who are not believers, we know to go to the Word, Romans 10. And if we believe that Jesus is the Son of God and accept him and acknowledge him, then we will be saved, because he made the ultimate sacrifice for us at Calvary. So we just go to Romans, read that verse and be strengthened by it, and have a better understanding of what it is showing us. Okay? So again, in 1 Corinthians 15, it tells us that we're saved by grace. And so we don't have to work for our salvation. We are saved by his grace. And if we continue to walk in the Word, love our neighbor as we love ourselves, it might sound very easy, but it's not as easy as it seems. Loving someone as we love ourselves, it's that ultimate love. Exactly how we would treat ourselves, we should treat that other person. That is that love. And that is in Corinthians 13, God's definition of love. So that's one of the things as believers, again, we need to check periodically and see, and look in the mirror and see whether or not we're walking in that love. And again, we are living in exciting times for every believer. Great news that Messiah is going to appear. He's going to take us out. The angels are going to collect us from the four corners of the earth. And you can double check that and verify that in Mark 13, 23 to 33. Okay, I'm going to get some updates on the details of what they're saying regarding Prime Minister Netanyahu. We're going to get some updates on what's happening here in the U.S. We're going to get some more updates on the Middle East. And then on the hostages, the rest of the hostages were released today. And there was a prisoners exchange where Israel released prisoners that they also agreed upon in that meeting. Another meeting will follow. And that meeting will determine whether or not they're going to extend the ceasefire. And we want to get out all the hostage, not just some, all of them. The men, the women, and the children. And so, as believers, we continue to pray that all the hostages will be released. And so that meeting today, again, will determine if they're going to extend it or they're going to continue. Okay, guys, we're going to talk later, and have a blessed Monday. It is Monday, November 28th. Have a blessed day. Bye.